Hi all, welcome to the strategy session of Environment Ecology as a part of iLearn's Theory of Film series. So when it comes to environment in UPSC's exam, there will be always some facts and figures which will pop up in aspirants' thoughts. It can be about the 600 plus protected areas like national park and wildlife sanctuaries that exist in India. Or it can be even about the technical nature of ecology. Or it can be about the infinite number of national and global initiatives which occur every single year. So the question is, does all these facts and figures make environment a really difficult subject to comprehend? The answer is no. We have identified 11 takeaways, 11 trends which is followed by UPSC every year to frame questions through a 9-year question paper analysis. I am assuring you that if you are following these 11 findings which I have founded, it will make you help to crack 90% of the questions which is asked by UPSC every year. So this is the purpose of this particular session, particular lecture, to make a highly factual, disorganized subject into an optimum, efficient and very ordered subject. So let me explain the overall structure of this particular session. This lecture will contain two different sections. First one would be a general analysis of environment paper. Second would be a topic-wise analysis in which we focused 9 focus areas an aspirant should follow to make 90% of the questions asked by UPSC correct. So these are the general structure of this particular lecture. And the mode of discussion would be, I'll be giving you some takeaways of findings which I got through previous year question paper analysis. And then I'll be giving you enough proofs and evidences from previous year paper to make you satisfied that this would be the pattern. And third thing, you can take that fact, you can take that takeaway with you, following which make you able to crack the 90% of the questions. So this will be the mode of discussion and this is the structure of this particular lecture, general analysis and topic-wise analysis. So without making any time, let me jump into the general analysis first. And always make sure that you would have watched the first session of Theory of Films introductory section so that some terms and some phrases which I will be using in this particular series familiar to you. So this is my takeaway number 1. Regarding the number of questions, weightage of questions, there will be around 18 questions every year in UPSC's exam. Which means, if you consider geography questions also that can overlap with environment topics, this number can go up to 20. Which means on a mark base, you can expect maximum 40 marks, up to 40 marks in every year's UPSC's paper from environment portions alone. Remember that 110 would be the ideal score which will enable to cross the line with ease, and out of this 110 mark, around 40 marks is from environment alone, which points out the importance of investing time judiciously in environment topic. So this is the first takeaway you have to take you home. There would be around 30 to 40 mark a question in environment portions alone, and that too from easy to medium difficulty level. So if you consider the 20 questions which would ask in a single year, since the questions are easier to medium to answer, you can make 18 or 19 questions correct every year if you invest your time judiciously and efficiently in environment topic. Look at this graph. This graph shows the total number of questions asked every single year from 2011 to 2019. The number remains almost the same and average would be 18. So this is the first takeaway. There is a high hit ratio in environment and there is a high possibility to make those 18 questions or 20 questions correct. So this is the first takeaway. And let me go to the second takeaway, the very important takeaway one must follow. It is regarding the repeated nature of questions or topics asked by UPSC every single year. UPSC is highly restricted because the syllabus, it has been changed from 2011 to 2019, which means UPSC should be highly selective it's highly selective or restricted when it comes to picking up questions. Somehow they have to repeat 1 or 2 questions every year because the syllabus is highly restricted. Syllabus hasn't been changed from 2011 to 2019. So this is my second takeaway. UPSC is asking repeated questions every single year. And here are the proofs for you. Look at these 2 questions asked in 2013 and 2018. Look how similar the questions are. Question was regarding the water loss or plant adaptation. Look at the option. Options were all the same. All the 3 options were same. Hard and waxy leaves, hard and waxy leaves. Tiny leaves, tiny leaves. Thorns, thorns. And look at the closer, look closer how similar the questions and options were. And let me give you more example. In 2011, UPSC asked about emission from thermal power plants. And in 2014, UPSC only changed the industry. But options were always the same. Oxides of carbon, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur. Which would be the answer? Okay. I am not going to discuss answer here because this is a general analysis. Answer would be discussed in the topic wise session. So this is the example for takeaway number 2. And let me give you more example. This is an example question asked in 2011 and 2014. Look at the options. Look at the options in 2 different years. Photosynthesis, respiration, decaying of organic matter, volcanic actions. Only these options were jumbled in 2014, nothing else changed. So what have you got from this particular takeaway? UPSC is asking repeated questions every single year. Getting it? So this is my takeaway number 2. And what is the importance? If you practice, that's a mantra, if you practice previous year question, you can secure up to 6 marks every single year from previous year papers alone. Getting it? And here are more examples for you. Forest Right Act, Coral Reef, Gangetic Dolphin, Endemic Species, Endangered Species, National Ganga River Basin Authority. All these topics were repeated in different years. Okay. So remember that practicing questions from environment portions in every year is highly important because you will be getting either direct questions or a concept related to the previous one asked in the previous year. So these are my first 2 takeaways. It's highly important. First one is regarding the summary or weightage of total number of questions, and second one is regarding the repeated nature of questions. Please practice previous year question paper. You will be getting around 6 marks. Please invest enough time in environment and ecology. You will be getting around 18 questions. So this is the summary of first 2 takeaways out of the 11 important takeaways which I have to present to you. 2 out of 11 is completed. Now the general analysis is over. Let me give an introduction regarding the topic wise analysis. These are the 9 focus areas. 9 focus area every serious aspirant should follow on. Because 90% of the questions are coming from these 9 modules. So I will take each and every module in detail in the upcoming section. Now we are going to take the protected area networks as the first session. See, protected area networks includes initiatives like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, tiger reserves, and or Ramsar sites, etc. Getting it? So this will be the topics which I will be covering in this particular portion. And before getting into the topic, look at the importance of protected area networks. For the sake of explanation, I have compared species protection and protected area networks together. And look at the importance. Look at the red marks, orange mark in each year. Each year. See, every single year you can expect questions. And on an average, there will be around 4 to 5 questions from these 2 portions. Look how important the portion is. But the real question is, the real problem is, when this protected area come into our syllabus, students think like these numbers. Oh my god, there are 100 plus national parks, 500 plus wildlife sanctuaries, 50 tiger reserves, around 37-40 Ramsar sites, around 20 biosphere reserves. How on earth is it possible to by heart? Is it possible to mug up all these factual data regarding these protected areas? And the answer is this particular session. Once I finish this module, it will be a cakewalk for you to analyze, to comprehend this particular section. I'm assuring you that. So, let me give an idea, an introduction before getting into the factual data. You should develop some really good conceptual clarity regarding the protected area networks in India. Because UPSC can ask highly concept based question based on these protected areas. So you should be thorough with the definition, you should be thorough with the objective source of the initiative, you should be thorough with the land rights or rights regarding that protected area, you should be well known about the power distribution in that protected area and about the laws and regulations which regulates that protected area, the legal status of it. Let me give an example. If I am telling about national park, you should be able to recognize what makes a national park a national park. What makes it different from a national park and a biosphere reserve? What is the real difference between them? Those aspirants which should know the difference can solve these kind of questions. What is the difference in terms of definition? What is the difference in terms of basic objective? What is the difference in terms of land right? What is the difference objective in terms of regulatory status behind it? So these kind of ideas should be known to every student before getting into the factual data, because this is highly important, because UPSC can ask question based on basics, fundamentals, like these three questions. Look at these three questions asked in 2011, 12 and 13. Options were all the same, right? Biosphere reserve, botanical garden, national park and wildlife sanctuary. Biosphere reserve, botanical garden, national park and wildlife sanctuary. Here also the options are all the same. The only difference is the concept. Here in this 2011, UPSC asked about in situ method of conservation, mode of conservation, whether it is in situ or ex situ. In 2012, UPSC asked about the land right, in which of the protecting area people have a right to dwell in, to collect forest produces. And in this particular question, UPSC asked about the definition. Okay, definition or difference between national park and biosphere reserve. So those who are thorough with the concept can make these kind of questions correct. So it is really important for you to make the idea regarding protected areas in India very clear. Getting it? So this is my introduction, this is my first advice before getting into the factual knowledge. And let me present you the third takeaway straight to you. This is my third takeaway. UPSC is consistently focusing only a handful of protected area networks over the last 9 years. UPSC is consistently focusing only a handful of PAN over the last 9 years. Okay, it has been highly selective when it comes to protected area networks. They have chosen a set of protected areas. Okay, now please remember that from now onwards I will be referring protected area networks as PAN, because it is easier to tell. Okay, so UPSC has a list of some selected PAN to put here and there, to put as options of questions in different years. So this is my part A of takeaway number 3, and part B of takeaway number 3 is what? Among these selected PAN or among these asked PAN over the last 9 years, more than 50% were from two selected areas, Western Ghats and Northeastern India. And why is that so? These are our two biodiversity hotspots. Okay, you can find n number of species and biodiversities here. So biotic diversity is more protected areas, more questions. Simply that's a logic. So this is my takeaway number 3. Getting it? And what is my next duty? To prove it. Prove it using previous year examples. Let me give you a sample chart. This is a sample chart showing Pitahaniga asked in 4 different years. Manas got asked in 2 different years. Namdafa got asked in 3 different years. Sundarbans got asked in 2 different years. This is only a sample set. There are more national parks, more wildlife sanctuaries which got asked in different years, different times. Okay, and let me show it using examples. Getting it? So take a look at these 2 questions asked in 2015 and 2019. Before getting into the question, you just go for the options. Is there any similarities between the options? Namdava here, Namdava here. Neuravali here, Neuravali here. Nanda Devi National Park is here, Valley of Flower National Park is here. Is there any 2 difference between Nanda Devi National Park and Valley Flower National Park. In fact, there is not much because these two are very closely located national parks within a single biosphere reserve. Nanda Devi and Valley Flowers are closely located national park. Getting it? So, if we think like that, 3 out of 4 options were literally similar in 2 different years. Getting it? And look at the questions. Here, UPSC asked about identifying a national park which is subtropical, temperate and Arctic. Here, UPSC asked about a question which completely lies in temperate alpine zone. Getting it? So, look at the pattern. Here also, I don't need to introduce any new techniques or logics because once you have the content, you can solve it. Simple as that. Okay. So, make sure that the purpose of this particular module is to identify a pattern, and based on pattern, you can build a framework, and on the basis of framework, you can build your own handouts. Okay, and revise it, keep on revising it. Okay, you will be able to eliminate the wrong options and to identify the right options. Getting it? So, this is my takeaway number 3, and more examples for you. Okay, find out any particular protected area which has been repeated over and over in 4 different years from 4 these options. Yes, it's what? It's Bidakanika. Bidakanika got repeated in 2011, 2012, 2015 and 2017. 4 different times, same national park, different years, different questions. Getting it? And more example for you. Take these 2. Here UPSC repeated what? Sundarbans. Take these 2. Here UPSC repeated Manas and Manas. Take these 2 examples. Here UPSC repeated Namdapha and Namdapha. This was in 2013 and 2019, and you had seen that 2015 also UPSC repeated about Namdapha in the first slide. Getting it? So 3 different times Namdapha got asked, and more example for you. Corbett National Park for you and Corbett National Park for you, and here also Keoladeo National Park for you. Here also Keoladeo National Park for you. Look how closer the options are, how restricted the UPSC is. And more example for you. Here also Silent Valley National Park. Here also Silent Valley National Park. Here also Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary. Here also Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary. See, it simply means that UPSC is highly restricted. As I said in the takeaway number 3, UPSC is highly restricted. More example for you. There are more example for you. Satyamangalam here, Satyamangalam here. Getting it? So Mudumalai here. This is in 2017. Mudumalai again here. So Mudumalai got asked in 2017, 2019. Okay, so these 2 were same, 2017 and 2019. See, look at the number of times a particular national park is got repeated over and over. So this is the conclusion. This is the conclusion. UPSC can ask questions regarding a national park or a wildlife sanctuary or a tiger reserve repeatedly over the years. Getting it? And based on these analysis, I have prepared a list of 16 heavyweight protected areas which UPSC used to pick up over and over. So this is my list of 16 protected areas which is used by UPSC literally every year. Okay, in 1 year or another year, UPSC can repeatedly ask questions regarding these national parks or these protected areas. And among these 16 national parks or among these total asked national parks or protected areas, if you give a number, out of 25 protected areas, 15 were from either from northeast or from western Ghats. Dampha, Gumdi, Manas, Namdapha, Niravali, Pakhui, Kebul Namjao, Nokrek, Kasiranga, all from northeastern region. And national parks like Bandipu, Agasthyamala, Mudumalai, Satyamangalam, Nagarhole and Silent Valley, all these from Western Ghat region. So that's another takeaway which you can get. In fact, I've already discussed area to be focused on. Then let me sum up. This is the summary. These are the 16 protected area networks. Take this down, prepare your notes on different dimensions regarding these heavyweight protected areas. Make sure that you are getting 90% of the questions as correct. Getting it? And if you need more details, one more. What is Nagarhole? What is Kasiranga? What is Mudumalai? Corbett? And what is Simlipal? What is Manas? What is Sundarbans? What is Namdapha? And what is Nokrek? All these are tiger reserves too. So UPSC definitely has an obsession towards tiger reserves. They see about let me sum up it again. Or UPSC can specifically ask about some 16. This is a number which I got from previous year question paper analysis. Some selected set of PAN every year, and these selected set of PAN can be from either from northeastern India or from Western Ghats. And these protected areas may have multiple importance. They can be national park, they can be tiger reserves as well. So this is a summary you have to get. Getting it? So take away this summary, make your own handout, and even if you don't make your own handout, we are preparing our own handouts based on this analysis, and that will be shared using our Telegram channel. So make sure that you have subscribed to the Telegram channel so that you can get the ready-made material through it. And let me remind it one more time, if you haven't watched the previous section of Theory of Prelims introductory section, go and watch it. Okay, because I may be using too many terms from that particular section alone. Getting it? So this is my summary. This is my takeaway number 3. I hope you get it. You got it. And here are my prediction based on this year's current affairs. Each of these protected areas were there in news for some reasons. Okay, they were there in news for some reasons, and I have picked up those reasons. I have picked up those national park or protected areas which came in news very frequently. So I have listed some 10 protected areas in addition to those 16. So 16 plus 10, you got some 26. Okay, so take a rough number 25. From that 600 plus protected areas, now you have reached to 25. Can you believe it? From that 600 plus protected areas, you have now reached to 25 protected areas, which is very much studyable. You can make it study. Getting it? If you want to buy it, if you want to mug up it, mug it up. Okay, this is pretty easy. So I believe the takeaway number 3 is what you all got the essence of takeaway number 3. Getting it? So if you want to make a note, make notes on these selected protected areas. Okay, so look how easier it was. Okay, and if you make a comparison, how difficult it was before this conclusion or before this session, and look at how easier it is now. Getting it? So this is the essence of the first 3 takeaways. Getting it? Now you can ask me a question. So we understood where to focus, but what is the other part of that question? How to focus, or what to focus, or how to study, how to prepare notes? Don't worry, the answer lies in the question itself. How to focus or what to focus. Revisit the questions again, you will get the dimensions. Here UPSC asked about the climatic pattern. Okay, here UPSC asked about the climatic pattern. In 2015 and 2019, UPSC asked about the temperate kind of climate. Suppose UPSC now can ask about tropical climate. Identify a national park which completely lies in the tropical zone. That can be a question. Getting it? Completely lies in the tropical zone. That can be a question. And here in this question, UPSC asked about rivers crisscrossing the national park. Here UPSC asked about the biodiversity. See, here UPSC asked about the rivers. Here UPSC asked about the biodiversity. Here UPSC asked about the legal status. Here UPSC asked about the legal status, whether it is a tiger reserve or not. Okay, and here UPSC asked about the protected species. Here UPSC asked about the legal status. Here UPSC asked about the protected species. Getting it? And also here again tiger reserve, same question, and here UPSC asked about the biodiversity, coral reef. Here UPSC asked about this physical geography. So focus on physical geography. That can be another dimension. Okay, so these are the rough dimensions you can get from these analysis. These are the rough dimensions that you can get from these analysis. Focus on these dimensions, and we have made a framework for you. Okay, prepare your handout based on this framework, or wait for the material being uploaded in the Telegram channel. We have prepared materials based on this framework. Okay, state is important, physical geography is important, climatic pattern is important, biodiversity is important, tribes is important, rivers, whether is it any multiple importance or was it there in the current affair for the past 1 year. See, these are the dimensions that should be covered. Getting it? So let me give an example. Take the example of Kaziranga. Take the example of Kaziranga National Park. Okay, and put Kaziranga in different dimensions. Kaziranga is in Assam. No worries there. And is there any physical geography feature other than hill and mountain range? If there is no hill or mountain range, leave it. Add any other physical dimension, physical geography dimension. Kaziranga lies in Brahmaputra plain. That you can add. And what about the climatic region? Kaziranga is actually what? Tropical. Kaziranga is tropical climate. Then Kaziranga is what? Well known for one-horned rhino. And is there any particular tribe that dwells in Kaziranga? It is actually the Mysing tribe. Mysing tribe. And what about the rivers? As many as 4 rivers are there in Kaziranga, like Brahmaputra or Defru. And what about its multiple importance? Kaziranga is not just a national park, it's a tiger reserve, it's a World Heritage Site, it's an important bird area. Getting it? And was Kaziranga in news? Check your current affairs, add that aspect here. So look how a national park can be explored using this framework. So this is how you have to prepare. Getting it? So now if UPSC asks a question, suppose let me frame a question. This particular national park lies in this particular protected area, lies in a tropical climate, and Mysing tribe dwells here. It has Defru river passing through it, and it is a tiger reserve, World Heritage Site, as well as an important bird area. Identify the national park. Answer is what? Kaziranga. So this is how you have to answer. So prepare notes based on this framework for all those 16 plus 10, 26 protected areas. We may not getting all the dimensions for all the national parks or all the protected areas, but prepare as much as you can possible. Getting it? So this is a framework for preparing notes on protected area networks. Clear? Then one more thing you have to be noted. Please do remember to work upon this particular question. Okay, because this single question contains a lot of protected areas. So UPSC can explore this single question can ask questions based on these options. So please do remember that you are exploring this particular question. Getting it? So that is my takeaway number 3 for you, and let me sum it up again. What was takeaway number 3? UPSC has an affinity towards a selected set of protected areas, and that selected set can be from Western Ghats or Northeastern region for most of the time, and they can be tiger reserves. Getting it? And please do give focus on areas which has multiple importance. Okay, because it's easier to frame questions based on those. So this is my takeaway number 3. Getting it? And I hope takeaway number 1 is clear, takeaway number 2 is clear, and takeaway number 3 is clear. Clear? So this is my 3 takeaways. Getting it? I think now you may be feeling some sense of satisfaction or completeness in your preparation. Go for this strategy. It will be beneficial for you. That's it. We have finished our first 3 takeaways, right? First one is regarding the weightage of UPSC, environment in UPSC exam. Second one was regarding the repetitive nature of questions, and third one was regarding the repetitive nature of protected area based questions. Just like that, we'll be finding whether there is any particular pattern in species protection or not. I know that this is another area which can create headache for aspirants. So my aim is to simplify this particular section also. So please keep on watching. And I don't want to explain the graph anymore because I've already explained it. Because species protection and PAN both are interconnected region, interconnected areas. So let me give you the takeaway straight. So this is my takeaway. UPSC is consistently focusing only a handful of species, just like they do it in protected areas. Getting it? So UPSC is consistently focusing upon a certain set of species which they consider them as superstars because of various reasons. They used to pick up those options and put it in different years as questions or options in the questions. So this is the pattern, and for this takeaway I am giving you the examples. So this is the sample set. Gharial got asked in 3 different years but 4 times, because in 2017 there were 2 questions based on gharial. And in 2011, 12 and 17, Indian wild ass was repeated. And 2012, the same year, snow leopard got repeated twice. And in 2014 and 15, Gangetic dolphin was repeated. So this is only a sample set. More examples are there. Getting it? So these are the frequently asked questions based on species list. Based on species list. Look at the example. Gharial here, gharial here, gharial here, again gharial here. 4 different years, the same gharial, same species, but as 4 different questions. Look how restricted the UPSC is while it comes to picking up options. Getting it? And for more example, look at Indian wild ass here. Look at Indian wild ass here. Asiatic wild ass is as same as Indian wild ass. Look at Indian wild ass here. Same options, right? And look for Indian wild buffalo here and Indian wild buffalo here. Look at 2 similar options in 2 different years exam. See, UPSC is repeating its pattern, everything is repeating. And here in 2012 and 13, UPSC repeated swamp deer. UPSC repeated swamp deer. And in 2012, as I said earlier, snow leopard was repeated twice. Okay. And in 2013 and 12, UPSC asked about lion tail monkey. And in 2015 and 14, UPSC focused upon national aquatic animal of India, which is the Gangetic dolphin. So this is the pattern. UPSC is strictly focusing upon certain species which they consider as the most important ones, and I name it as superstar species. And this is my superstar species. This is UPSC superstar species when it comes to picking up options. Indian wild ass, gharial, swamp deer, snow leopard, lion tail monkey, Indian wild buffalo, Gangetic dolphin, great Indian bustard, Kashmir stag, red panda, olive ridley turtle, Asiatic lion, one-horned rhino, pygmy hawk, chiru, dugong. And even if these species are not repeatedly asking, there is high chance that in the coming year these species can be asked again, just like these species. So here is my list of superstar species. There are 16 of them. Please make sure that you are covering all the dimensions which we done like it in the protected area networks. And along with these species, I have identified some family of faunal groups which UPSC likes to ask questions from. Example, crocodile species. There are only 3 crocodile species in India: saltwater, mugger and gharial. And UPSC asked about all the 3. Mugger as well, mugger, saltwater and gharial as well. And there are some vulture species in India. Some of them are critically endangered and UPSC can ask questions based on that. And there are some turtle species in India just like olive lily turtle. So some of them are vulnerable, some of them are endangered, some of them are critically endangered. So make sure that you are finding the right species at the right time and prepare handout based on that. And about river water dolphins, there are only 2 river water dolphins in India, that is Indus water dolphin and Ganges water dolphin. And if you consider the Irrawaddy dolphin, there are 3. And UPSC used to ask questions regarding these 3 species. Focus there. And big cats in India, UPSC loves big cats. UPSC can ask questions regarding lion. Tiger is their favorite species. They can ask questions regarding tiger in the form of tiger reserves. And remember the M stripes question asked in 2017. And there is snow leopard and clouded leopard. Snow leopard and clouded leopard. See, these species are important. Have a look into these species, prepare your notes. You'll be getting 90% of the questions as correct. And as I said earlier, I have prepared a framework based on these species, based on the questions, and those materials will be shared in the Telegram channel. Please do subscribe it. So that's it. So this is the takeaway number 4. I believe the things are now getting clearer to you, right? So these are the species to focus on. Those were the protected areas networks to focus on. And some repeated questions can be asked. You have to invest, we have to invest this much time in environment because this has this much weightage. Okay, 30 to 40 marks can be asked. This is it. Okay, and you can ask me a question which you had asked me before. So we now know that where to focus or what to focus. Now how to focus, how to prepare notes on these species. Again the answer lies in the question. Visit the previous year question paper. Look for the dimensions which UPSC used to cover. Here UPSC asked about its threatened status, endangered or not. Here UPSC asked about the current affair related thing. Here UPSC asked about the legal status. Here UPSC asked about the protected area which they can found. See, these are the dimensions. Area they can found, their IUCN status, their threats to them, threats to their life, and whether there is any cultural importance to it, whether is it endemic or not. So these kind of questions can be asked. Whether the species was in news or not. So these kind of questions can be asked. So these are the dimensions. So doesn't matter or don't worry, we have prepared a framework for you. Okay, framework which aims at finding the geographic extent, protected area, endemism, IUCN status, threats faced by it, and current affairs. Okay, so make your handout based on these framework. And also, in addition to these superstar species and some family of faunal groups, make sure that you are studying these animals which were there in news for any reason. So these are my predictions for 2020. These can be asked. Okay, Sangai deer, Nilgiritha, Sumatran rhino, Tibetan gazelle, Indian pangolin, Bengal florican and Asian elephant. These were there in news for some reason. For example, Indian elephant, it was recently declared as national heritage animal. Bengal florican is actually an endangered bird which comes in news very frequently. Indian pangolin, it's famous for people used to smuggle it. And Tibetan gazelle, sometimes also known as Govan gazelle, sometimes makes it confusing. And Sumatran rhino, another endangered rhino species, Nilgiri Thar and Mukudi National Park, Sangai deer or Manipur dancing deer. These are the important species in news which can be asked by UPSC. So you have to focus upon them. Getting it? So these are the species you have to look upon. Right? So this is my framework and this is the summary. What is the summary? Summary can be what? Summary is like what UPSC can repeatedly ask about some species. And I named it as superstar species. And what is your duty? Focus on these superstar species based on the framework that I gave to you. Getting it? And what if UPSC asks some out of the blue type questions? What if it chose to deviate from the superstar species which I have listed? And the logic for that or the solution for that kind of questions is your logic and technique which we discussed in our previous year or previous section, that is what Theory of Prelims introductory section. So make sure that you are following that techniques and logics over your knowledge to find out the correct answer or to eliminate the wrong options. Getting it? So focus here. So this was a question asked in 2019, 2 questions, same year. Here in this question you can apply the theory rotten tomato. Here in this question you can apply the theory of possibility enhancer. How? Look at the question, I can solve it for you. See here, some species of turtles are herbivores. Yeah, some can be herbivores. Some species of fish can be herbivore. Some species of marine animals are herbivore. Some species of snakes are herbivores or viviparous. Okay, no matter whichever be the species, there is some is a possibility enhancer, and there is high chance is there some species of or some of a large species of animal can be herbivore, carnivore or viviparous or whatever be like. So this is a possibility enhancer. Some, can be, maybe. Go for it. Answer would be 1, 2, 3 and 4. And what about this? This is a very fundamental thing, right? Question regarding Asiatic lion. Asiatic lion is found in India only. You don't need to apply any technique there because that's fundamental. You will be getting it from the school classes itself. So Asiatic lion, which is an endemic species to India, only can be found in Gir National Park. That's an absolute statement, absolutely correct. You can eliminate option 2. And what about the last one? One-horned rhinos is naturally found in India only. Use your common sense, use your logic. Make sure that you are imagining India's map. So this is northeastern region, this is Manas National Park which spreads across Bhutan and India. And rhinoceros doesn't know boundaries, doesn't know whether this is Bhutan or whether this is India. They just roams around, okay? They just roam around and they don't know the boundaries because of what? this option becomes wrong. Okay, it can be found in India as well as in Bhutan or maybe in some other countries. So 3 can be eliminated. Now you are getting the correct answer. So this is how you have to approach this question. Use your logic. Use your logic. And more question for you. This particular question asked in 2016, which surprised all of the aspirants in 2016. What is it? Is it a camel? Oh, what is this Karai camel? This was totally a surprise, but which could have been solved using the common logic. Go for the third statement. It lives in the wild and cannot be domesticated. Is it correct? It can be correct. Can it be correct? It is absolutely not correct. Look at your surroundings. You can even domesticate the largest animal in the earth or in land. That is what? That is the elephant. If you can domesticate the largest animal, then why can't you domesticate a camel? Which can be eliminated using your common sense, and answer is 1 and 2. So this is how you have to choose the correct answer or to eliminate the wrong option. Getting it? And what about this question? Dugong. Remember, dugong was in our list of superstar species. So one prepares upon that list and use their common sense or that rotten tomato theory here. It is found along the entire coast of India. Entire is a rotten tomato, which makes that entire statement wrong. Okay, they can eliminate the statement 2, which will give them a 50-50 chance, and take your chance. If you don't know the fact, go for it if you have the fact. Okay, answer is 1 and 3. Clear? It is how you have to reach the correct answers using logics and techniques. And what if a question comes above your logics and techniques? We prepared thoroughly on that 16 superstar species, we prepared thoroughly on that 10 current affairs news, and we prepared or we know how to apply logic and techniques. And what if UPSC asks a question which is purely fact, which cannot be applied, or any kind of logic cannot be applied in it, and which is beyond our limit? What can we do? Leaving is the best strategy. Sometimes leaving a question is as good as attempting it. Getting it? So that's it. Solving by logic and techniques. So these are the summary or insight I can give to you in this species protection list. I hope it's clear. What was takeaway number 1? Weightage of environment. What was takeaway number 2? Repetitive nature of UPSC question. What was takeaway number 3? Repeated nature of pan based question. What was takeaway number 4? Repeated nature of species based question. So these are our first 4 takeaways. I hope all are clear to you. Getting it? So be prepared upon these species, be prepared upon these protected areas, questions can be asked. Getting it? Now, if all these 4 takeaways are clear, we are moving into the 5th takeaway and our 3rd topic. National Environment Initiatives. Okay, till now we have discussed 2 of the 9 pillars in our environment and ecology session. We discussed protected area networks as well as species protection, and from these 2 pillars we have come out with 3 important takeaways, takeaway 3 and takeaway 4. I hope you keep on revisiting it and make your own handout or your own manuscript so that you can remember it well. Now we will move to National Environmental Initiative or 3rd module. And by National Environmental Initiative, I mean the legislations that made in India and some acts or rules which stands for environment protection. It can be against the climate change, it can be for pollution abatement, or it can be for wildlife protection, it can be anything. So in general sense, it's all the legislations and regulations which stands for environment protection. Getting it? And getting into the topics, we should first know the trend. National Environment Initiative, what about its trends? Okay, so for the sake of explanation, I have clubbed environment legislation along with global initiatives. See, look at the graph. Look at the graph, how does it go? Actually, it has a very high importance. When we see the graph, we know that, see, 2012, one question was asked, same as 2013, 2014, number of questions were jumped up into 4. Then it goes down like 6, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5. Okay, so on an average, you'll be getting around 5 to 6 questions. So that is very important. Okay, out of the 20 questions, 5 from protected networks or species protection, 5 from environmental legislations or global initiatives. So it makes the 50% of the total environment portions. So invest your time here more. Okay, that is one important outcome of this graphical analysis. Invest your time more here. Because as a pattern says 2017, 2018, 2019, more or less they were constant number of questions. So you have to focus here. Getting it? And here is my takeaway number 5 for you that I got from analyzing previous year environmental legislations. Here we cannot draw any pattern. That is the most important takeaway. There is no any easy way to score here. Getting it? Rather than finding easier routes, you just have to consolidate your knowledge, your content on various laws, rules and regulations using some standard framework. Getting it? So this particular area, this environment initiatives demands you to build your content well. Unless you are not having enough content, unless you are not having good solid content here, you are not going to make it correct. So it's important to build your content here. That's an important takeaway here. And how to build that content? That's the most important thing. Should we read all the Bare Act? Should we read all the legislation in that PRS website? Or should we read all the textbook and all the current affairs news that comes about this particular law? Is that the required thing? No, that's not the required thing. The required thing is to identify a standard framework to make handouts, to make notes. That is important here. Getting it? So regarding environmental initiatives, you have to build your content. That's the most important outcome. And how to make that content possible? Make that content based on this particular framework. That's the most important thing. Getting it? So here we have identified some 10 to 11 important legislations which UPSC used to ask year again and again based on some certain parameters. They never shift their focus from that particular framework. Okay, you put any law, you take any law, you can put that law into our framework. Okay, so build your framework like this. This is the one framework I have to give for you. Take any law, Forest Act, take Wildlife Protection Act, Water Act, Biodiversity Act, NGT Act, CAMBA, PCA, beat any act, put this act into this framework. You'll get your answer in any UPSC questions. Okay, so your duty to make this framework possible and keep on reading it again and again so that you won't forget anything regarding this act, any of this act. Okay, so only know this framework. That's important outcome I have to give to you. So look, you have to be thorough with the basic objective or basic features of any act. And if there are any institutions which are created by that particular act, you have to be thorough with it. And if there are any change in power distribution between union and state government, you have to be thorough with it. Which has more power, which has power on which thing. These kind of things should be studied. And ministry involved, that is important because there are some acts which can get you confused regarding the ministry involved in it. For example, Scheduled Tribe Forest Right Act. Okay, as a name indicates, this can be a Forest Right Act. So, by all common sense, it should be the duty of Ministry of Environment to coordinate this act. But it is not the case. It is Ministry of Tribal Affairs who take after what? Forest Right Act. So, just like that, there are some exemptions. There can be some variations. So, be ready with well known with the ministry involved to deal with a particular act. And some acts may coordinate 2 or 3 ministries together. Getting it? So that just like that, you have to be thorough with the evolution of the act. Okay. So let me give an example. Forest Right Act 2006 is different from its prior version, Forest Act 1980. And this entire Forest Act was different from its predecessor, Forest Act 1927. So what makes the 3 acts different to each other? You have to study the evolution. Getting it? So what is the difference between WCCB and Animal Welfare Board of India? Okay, Wildlife Crime Control Bureau and Animal Welfare Board of India. These two are two organizations which stand for animal protection. What makes it different? It's based on the act from which they have been evolved. So if you need to know this evolution, if you need to know this comparison, you have to be thorough with the basic act. Getting it? So this is what I am trying to imply. You have to be thorough with the evolution or the comparison between other acts, other such acts if there are any. Then study the exemptions. I'll give an example. What are the exemptions? What can be the exemptions in acts? Then concept introduced. Is there any new concept introduced by any particular act? If I'm taking an example, Environmental Protection Act, it introduced the concepts like what environment impact assessment, eco-sensitive zone. And take the example of Forest Right Act, it introduced the concept like what critical wildlife habitat. These kind of concepts were introduced by different acts. So these should be studied, and of course focus on the current affairs part of the act. If such an act is there for a long time in news, you have to be prepared upon it. And we have made a framework based on this and materials based on this. I'll be sharing these through the Telegram channel. So please make sure that you visit the channel and subscribe to it. You'll be getting the materials from there. So let me explain. Let me explain using an example. Let me give an example. Take the example of Wildlife Protection Act here. Okay. So what is the basic objective of Wildlife Protection Act here? Basic objective is to protect wildlife. Okay, not to find a balance between wildlife and man. It's simply there to protect wildlife. And what were the institutions created by the act? It created multiple institutions including National Tiger Conservation Authority, National Board for Wildlife. Okay, then institutions like or establishments like National Park, Wildlife Sanctuaries, Conservation Reserves, Community Reserves. Getting it? Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. All these were institutions created by WPA. You have to be thorough with it. And what about the power distribution? Who is responsible for implementing this act? And in this case, central government find it more responsible for implementing this particular act. Getting it? And what is the basic feature of that act? The very basic feature of this act is what? It has 6 schedules varying from 1 to 6, and from 1 to 4 we can include animals within list, and if an animal is in any of the list, it will get some legal protection. That's a basic feature of the act. And study for any exemptions. What is the exemption? Even though the animals listed in this particular acts gets legal protection, there can be some exemptions. Some exemptions are what? Vermin animals. If an animal is in Schedule 5, it can be a vermin. That's an exemption. It can be hunted. Okay. So this is how you have to make an act full of details. This is how you have to make what? Framework or information regarding a particular act. Getting it? So this is it. This is the framework which I try to explain to you. Getting it? That's it. Now we'll look into the questions. How UPSC is asking questions and can we answer using our framework? That's the main question. Okay, how UPSC is asking question and can we answer those questions based on our framework? That's a question. So take this. This is Wildlife Protection Act. Which of the following animals cannot be hunted? Okay, so this is basically the basic feature of WPA. Okay, if you know that 1 to 4, majority of the animals are in schedule from 1 to 4, they cannot be hunted. And if you know that only schedule 5 contains animals which can be hunted, and that too very minimum number of animals like wild boar or nilgai. And you can know that gharial, as we discussed earlier, Indian wild ass, wild buffalo, all these were superstar species and which deserve some importance, some protections. So they cannot be hunted. If you know the basic feature, answer could be 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and what about this one? This is a concept based one. If a tortoise is put in the schedule 1 of WPA 1972, what does it imply? It implies that schedule 1 means highest level of protection, which means it will enjoy the same level of protection as tiger, no matter whether it is a turtle or a tiger. If it is in schedule 1, it will get the highest level of protection. Getting it? So these questions are basically from the this single framework. They are just checking your basic understanding, not your legal expertise. UPSC doesn't need that. Getting it? So that's it. More questions like this. Animal Welfare Board of India was established under EPA. No. If you know it was Prevention of Cruelty Against Animals Act, you can solve it. National Tiger Conservation Authority is a statutory body. If you knew that it was created using WPA, you can solve it. National Ganga River Basin Authority is chaired by the Prime Minister. If you study EPA, if you study Environmental Protection Act in this manner, you would have come to know NGRBA, and you will study the basics of NGRBA. Prime Minister is the chairman, you can make it correct. And one more thing, if you practice this question, if you know those things, you can answer this one. How? Here UPSC says that Chief Ministers will be the chairman. Absolutely not. If you had practiced the previous year question, you can eliminate it. You could get the answer in 2016. So this is how is the importance of practicing question paper. And this question could have been also solved by other means. Okay, suppose a Ganga river is flowing through multiple states. So being a federal country like India, it's not possible to appoint a chief minister for a national body. That can be another logic. So logic can be used here. Then previous year question knowledge can be used here. Okay, anything is possible. Then more. STFRA. Okay, authority responsible for. If you work on the basics of this framework, you can solve it. Then definition of critical wild habitat is based on which act? Scheduled Forest Act, which is again correct. So if you know the concept introduced by WPA, Forest Right Act, you could have solved this. So this is the importance of this particular framework. It's pretty simple. Okay, once you made the framework, once you put this framework into your mind and collect all other information based on this framework, content making is easy. Okay, building content is pretty much easier. So this is it. This is how you have to prepare. Rather than reading some random stuffs here and there, from here and there, it won't make any sense, right? So you will be reading n number of act, n number of legislation from multiple sources, and at the end of the day, you will be forgetting it. You cannot recollect it. So rather than going for some wild goose chase, use this framework. Use this framework to build this act. So this is the thing I have to explain to you from this particular module. There is no easier way to solve this question. You have to build your content, but that content making should be done in a wise manner. And that manner is what? Making this particular framework. Getting it? So this is regarding the fifth takeaway I have to tell you. And again, this act, this was asked in 2019, which was what? Many aspirants made it wrong. Okay, this act was made, many aspirants made it wrong, incorrect. Why? Because they are not studying the basics of the act. That is why they are making it incorrect. If one studies the basic objective of that act, evolution of that act, nobody can make it incorrect. It should be made correct if you make the objectives clear in your mind. Let's see what will be the objective, what was the objective of introducing Forest Act 1927. It was made by Britishers to protect forests, not for giving land rights to the tribes. It was for, even though it was for their commercial interest, private interest, it was meant to protect forests. It was against the felling of trees in forests. So if you know the basic, you can solve it. As per the recent amendment to the Indian Forest Act, amendment cannot be amendment can be left out, but the basic objective remains the same, right? So basic objectives remains the same, means forest should be protected. You cannot fell bamboos grown on forest area. In fact, you can fell bamboos grown out of non-forest area, but not in non-forest area. So you know the basics. If you know the basics, you can make it either you can eliminate it or you can take it. So here 1 can be eliminated. Here 2 and 3 only. Both two statements were based on current affairs. Okay, so this is why the current affair part is important. Last year, government made bamboo a minor forest produce. So this is why current affairs part is important. So what I am telling is ultimately this framework matters. Make your handout, make your notes based on this particular framework. It will give you a great advantage while preparing on this particular module. Getting it? So this is the importance of takeaway number 5. And there are many other questions. Which you can solve. See, this question was regarding eco-sensitive zone. Again, a concept introduced by EPA. And this concept, National Ganga River Basin Authority, which we have already seen there. And this one again another question from EPA, and it states about the concept introduced by EPA, 2019 question. Again, Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, institutions created by EPA. Getting it? So same, all same here. NGT Act created NGT. Okay, it's not EPA. NGT Act created what? NGT. So if you know the concept of NGT, why do we need NGT? NGT stands for our right to live or right for life. So if you know the basic objective or basic feature, you can make it correct. Okay, so this is it. Okay, and about CPCB, if ones know that Water Act 1974 created CPCB, you can make it correct. Okay, so this all depends on facts, but that facts should be made on this particular framework. That is highly important. Getting it? So this is the outcome you have to take. Again, CAMBA Act. Okay, CAMBA Act created CAMBA, the authority, and it shifted it distributed the powers between center and state governments. It introduced the concept known as CAMBA, Compensatory Afforestation Fund. Okay, so this is the framework contains everything. This particular framework contains everything. So study this using your framework. Study this information using this particular framework. You will be able to solve many of the questions. And this material will be shared in your Telegram channel as I told before. Getting it? So this is it. Okay, let these questions be there, solving by logic and technique. I'll come to it later. But sum up takeaway 5 for the last time. Sum up takeaway number 5. Takeaway number 5 says that you have to build your content. You have to build your content in this particular area. And how to build that content? Based on the framework prepared by us. Okay, so prepare your content based on this particular framework. Got it? Now, just like I told you in the protected species part, what if UPSC asks some out of the box questions? Okay, how will you solve those questions? Again, the same logic applies here. If your techniques, if your tricks and tips which we studied in or which we learned in your theory prelims introductory section, if that helps you, you can go for it. Okay, and if it is too tough, you can leave it. So these are basics. These are all the mantras you should keep in your mind while you following or studying environment. Getting it? So let me show you some of the questions which would have been solved by logic and techniques, even though at the first instance they seem to be tougher. Okay, so first question. Under the Ramsar Convention, it is mandatory on the part of the government of India to protect and conserve all the wetlands in the territory of India. All the wetland. Is it possible to conserve all the wetlands? A paddy field can be a wetland. A small lake can be a wetland. It is not possible to conserve all the wetland. All the wetland is a rotten tomato. Ramsar Convention only says about wetlands of national importance or ecological importance. Okay, so one can be eliminated. Now only 2 statements are remaining. 3 is obvious correct. And what about 2? The wetland conservation and management rules were framed by the government of India based on the recommendations of Ramsar Convention. If one knows the concept of Ramsar Convention, it is what? Normally follows that. It normally follows that any national law can be an inspiration from a legal international one. Okay, any national law in any country can be an inspiration or can be inspired from its international predecessor. So both the statements can be made correct. So this is how you have to approach it. This was 2019 UPSC question. Getting it? And more questions for you. Solving by logics and techniques. As per the solid waste management rules in India, which one of the following statement is correct? Again, you could have solved this using a logic. Go for this option. Go for this option. It is mandatory on the part of waste generator that the waste generated in the one district cannot be moved to another district. Is it correct? Is it really correct? See, take the example of Delhi. Delhi is a highly metropolitan region. See, Delhi will have different districts and outskirts of it will have underdeveloped villages or what? Less populated areas. So, waste generated from these districts cannot be processed there itself. They have to be moved into these outskirts of Delhi to be processed upon. So, how on earth is it possible to prevent the waste movement in Delhi? This can be eliminated. This is not correct. And waste generator has to segregate waste into 5 categories. Look into your office, look into your environment or look into your surroundings. Can you see any 5 different segregate boxes? No, maximum you can see like what? Degradable, non-degradable or medical waste. Maximum 3 colors, red, yellow, green or blue. Other than these 3 boxes, can you find 5 boxes there? No, look into your surroundings, it can be solved using like this. And the rules are applicable to notified urban local bodies, notified towns and all industrial townships only. What about other bodies? Do they have to waste or process the waste? That was the logic. You can eliminate this one. Only is a rotten tomato. This could have been the answer. This is how you have to pick the right one. Use your logic, not your knowledge on everything. Your environment, your surroundings has the answers. Getting it? Now, extended producer responsibility, again, which was a current affair. Those who refer the current affairs can solve this, but again, without knowing the current affairs, you can solve this. How? Let me erase it and show you. See, extended producer responsibility, comparatively, it's a new subject, right? A new topic, right? Extended producer responsibility. And it is no way it is possible that, people in 1998 and 1999 could think about this EPA. It is not possible. People in 1990s could not think about EPA. It's a new concept, evolved after 2000, evolved after 2005 in fact, and it was true in OECD countries. Okay, so these two examples options can be eliminated. Now there are two, e-waste management and food safety. Choose one good option. It is what? E-waste management. Getting it? So more questions which can be solved by logic and techniques. This is regarding national water mission, and this is regarding Green India mission. Okay, out of 8 national action plan India has, 2 has been asked. Now remaining are 6. So prepare on that 6 missions which have been detached. Okay, how to prepare? Do you need to read the entire mission, entire objective of the mission? You don't need it, but read the options here. Read the options here. All the rivers of Himalayan origin will be linked to the rivers of Peninsular India. Is it possible to make all the rivers in Himalaya to linked with Peninsular India? This is wrong. All is a rotten tomato. Eliminate the last 2 options. Now A, B, 1 and 2 are very general statement. If you read it, you can find out that 1 and 2 are very general statement. Eliminate it. Getting it? So that's it. Which of the following best describes the types of or aims of Green India mission? This also can be done using your logic. Getting it? So option 2 says about the agricultural thing, and we have a dedicated mission for agricultural, sustainable agriculture. So 2 can be eliminated. Now either 1 only or 3 only. Now going with the statement 3, you can make it. You will know that statement 3 is more correct rather than statement 1. So this is how UPSC will put options. Okay, if you are able to eliminate one of the most blunder options among the 4, you will get the answer. Okay, at least you will reach 50-50, that's for sure. So this is what I have to tell you in this particular module. Okay, it's your content which matters here. Getting it? And there can be some questions which could have been solved by using a logic. Getting it? So this is my takeaway number 5 for you. So takeaway 1, I hope it is clear for you. Takeaway 2, I hope it's clear for you. Takeaway 3 regarding PAN. Takeaway 4 regarding protected area networks and species. Takeaway 4 regarding environmental acts. Takeaway 5 regarding environmental acts. Are all these facts clear to you? I believe you are. That's it. This finishes my takeaway number. Now we will move on to, see, this is a summary of, if you need the summary of the first 4 takeaways, here it is. Takeaway 1. You can expect this much percentage of questions or marks from a single year UPSC paper from environment alone. This was takeaway number 2. Each year's UPSC paper contains repeated questions or topic. And this was takeaway number 3. Our heavyweight protected areas and some related family and important PAN in news. Use this framework to build your content. And this was takeaway number 4 regarding some superstar species and plus some current affairs and their families. Okay. And this was a takeaway number 5. It was a summary, act and framework. Build your content based on it. Simple as that. Getting it? So that's it. So this is a summary of first 5 takeaways. Now we have 5 or 6 more takeaways. Continue for the more such takeaways or findings. Getting it? I'm sure at the end of the session it will be a cakewalk for you, this particular environment topic. Sure? Now we are moving into the 6th topic, which is ecology. Okay. Topic wise it's 4, but we'll have a 6th takeaway. Getting it? So that is ecology. Okay. So we are getting into the ecology topic. Next one. Till now, remember we finished till national initiative. Now it's ecology which we have to dealt with. Now coming into ecology, see, this is a particular portion which many of the students find it technical. Okay, as I said in the introduction, many of us Or many of the aspirants may think like, oh, I cannot do it because this is too much biology, this is too much science. So people from commerce and other literature or arts background find it difficult to comprehend the ideas introduced by ecology. Okay, but we'll come to that part later. First, we'll discuss the importance of ecology in environment and ecology portion. So you look at the number of ecology questions. Okay, till 2014 there were a good number of ecology questions out of total 21, and it was in 2013 and 2014 you got maximum number of questions. Why? Because it was in 2013 UPSC clubbed IFOS and UPSC civil service exam, prelims exam together. But after that, see the graph, the weightage of ecology largely went down. Okay, so you have to be clear that you don't need to invest more time in ecology. Okay, number of questions will be very few. Hardly you will get ecology questions in these days. So one thing to be noted, not much time in ecology. Not much time should not be invested in ecology. Second thing, what about the nature of the questions? Nature of the questions will be, they will be asking mostly the basic things which anyone can answer. So from ecology, UPSC will be asking the most basic thing which anyone can answer. Getting it? And if we take the source, here the source is important because I have seen people who read a lot of material to cover ecology part. Okay, some are covering material X, some are covering material Y, and even some other materials, out of the box material to cover the entire information regarding ecology. But is that required? That's my question. Friends, none of the materials are required if you have read the 6 chapters in NCERT. The only 6 chapters in NCERT. And which are those 6 chapters? Let me tell you, chapter 13, chapter 14, chapter 15 and chapter 16 of class 12 biology. Class 12 biology. And chapter 15 and chapter 16 of class 11 fundamentals of physical geography. Okay, so let me repeat it again. It is only required to read these 4 chapters from class 12 biology, these 2 chapters from class 11 physical geography, because out of the 14 questions asked in ecology portion over the last 9 years, 12 from directly from NCERT. 12 questions were directly from NCERT. Okay, so if NCERT gives you 90% of the question, why should you go with random material which contains a lot of stuff, unwanted stuff? Leave it all behind if you haven't read any of those material. Okay, so once again let me remember you, if you have read ecology portion thoroughly, if you have read ecology portions using other materials, let it be there. You don't need to radically shift your preparation. Okay, all those aspirants which already knew the concept of ecology, you continue with your preparation. I'm only aiming those aspirants who haven't read ecology yet. For those students, you don't need to go for n number of material. Visit these 6 chapters in NCERT, you will get 90% of the questions. Okay, so that's it. We don't need 100%, right? We'll get 90% of the questions. That is more than enough for you to clear the line. That's it. Okay, let me show you the nature of questions. UPSC asked about ecological succession in 2013, ecological niche, food chain, biological oxygen demand. These were the questions which directly picked up from NCERT, not any derivatives, not any indirect questions. These were directly from NCERT. And this one, productivity, and this one, ecosystem. These were the questions which directly picked up from NCERT without any difference in the phrases. Directly from NCERT. And this one, nitrogen cycle and carbon cycle, very fundamental thing in NCERT. And NCERT explains 3 nutrient cycle. NCERT explains 3 nutrient cycle. They are carbon, nitrogen and phosphorus in detail. And UPSC used to ask carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle literally every year in connected with ecology or global warming or something other like that. But you can expect phosphorus cycle if UPSC want to ask in a different manner. If UPSC used to pick up or chosen to pick up phosphorus cycle, you should go and read that NCERT. Okay, these 6 chapters. That's it. So these questions are literally from NCERT. That's an important takeaway you have to get. Getting it? And decomposer organism directly from NCERT. NCERT directly says that virus, fungi, bacteria. Among these fungi and bacteria can be decomposer organisms. Go and check your NCERT. You'll get the question directly from there. Lichens, UPSC discussed it directly. And hibernation, UPSC discussed the concept of hibernation and give bears as an example. Okay, see, look how straight UPSC is. They have directly picked up questions from NCERT for ecology portions. They are not going for any other material. And harmful algal bloom, another direct question from NCERT. See, this is the pattern. And it was the most difficult question asked in entire 9 years. Okay, leave it aside. You have other 13 questions. You can solve it. Getting it? This is my intention for you, to make you clear the path, to make you clear the source, to make you clear the objectives, so that you can help with you can continue with your preparation. Getting it? And some of the questions can be even solved using logic also. Look here, here also. Let me give you an example. For this question, UPSC asked about productivity. And what was productivity? What is productivity? Productivity is something like a rate. It's kind of rate. That is production per unit area. Production per unit area. So among these options, which one has maximum surface area? Oceans has, right? So maximum area means minimum productivity. There is only such options. Only one such option. This is option C. This is how you have to solve this. You can use your logic if you don't know the concept. Then regarding this question, ecosystem, this was a concept checking question, and UPSC purposefully gave two similar options: a community of organisms interacting with one another, a community of organisms together with the environment which they live. UPSC purposefully gave this for those aspirants who jump into conclusion. So students, please do not jump into conclusion. Please be patient to read the entire 4 options, then go with your knowledge. Getting it? So these are the insight I have to give to you. Then again, virus cannot be decomposer. We know that. This is it. These are the logics behind solving these questions. That's it. So let me sum up the 6th one. Let me sum up the 6th one. That is insight from ecology. Insight from ecology is what? Ecology says that, or ecology, what? The summary takeaway 6 says that from ecology you can expect the most basic things, and you can expect questions from only NCERT. 99% it is from NCERT. So these are the takeaway. And for you, I have prepared a frequently asked questions list, topics list, and these are my predictions. If UPSC used to ask or decided to ask questions from ecology this year, these are my predictions. Read it carefully, read the concept carefully, and make yourself sure that you are not missing these points. Getting it? So that's it. That's my takeaway number 6. Getting it? Now we finish ecology and we will move to global warming. Okay, so when it comes to global warming, things are much simpler, much easier, because UPSC don't complicate things in topics like global warming or ozone depletion. Okay, they will be asking the easiest question in entire environment portion when it comes to global warming or ozone depletion. Okay, so these are 2 small topics, so we will deal it togetherly. Okay, we will deal it together. So this is the topic analysis. How much important is global warming? Look at it. I have combined global warming and ozone depletion together. Look at this light green patch. No questions in 2013. 3 questions in 2014. 1, 4, 1, 1, 1. So mostly you will be getting 1 or 2 questions every year, and that will be from global warming, not from ozone depletion. UPSC hasn't asked questions regarding ozone depletion post 2014. Okay, so all these years UPSC only focused upon global warming. So that's it. Focus on global warming when it comes to comparison between global warming and ozone depletion. Give importance to global warming. Getting it? So this is it. And how will UPSC ask questions from global warming? This is my answer. Carbon is UPSC's oxygen when it comes to global warming. What do you mean by that? UPSC heavily relies upon carbon or carbon dioxide to choose to ask questions related to global warming. In literally every year, you can expect a question from carbon cycle or something similar to carbon cycle, or from role of carbon dioxide in global warming, increasing global warming, or question regarding carbon capture or climate engineering, or something like carbon trade or something like that. So you can expect such kind of questions literally every year. carbon trade or carbon capture or sequestration cycle or carbon role of carbon dioxide. These kind of concepts can be asked in 1 year or another year. This is a general pattern. Let me show you the questions. Okay, here UPSC asked about it combined human geography, agriculture along with carbon cycle. Which of the activities help to sequestrate, to collect carbon into soil? Here we have already seen the carbon cycle or decay, carbon cycle which will contribute carbon dioxide into carbon cycle. So these two we have already discussed. And here the role of carbon dioxide in atmosphere that elevates global warming. That is, it attracts what? It absorbs what? Infrared part. So these are all fundamentals, right? Do not try to overthink here. Do not try to apply any kind of techniques here. Use your common sense. Use a broad mind. Keep your knowledge first in these things. Keep your common sense first in these things beyond techniques. Okay, that will save you. So this is my takeaway. UPSC can continuously ask carbon related concepts. Getting it? And more question for you. Here UPSC asked about carbon sequestration. What do you mean by carbon sequestration? Carbon sequestration means what? Carbon dioxide can be what? Stored into some physical places. This is a gas fundamentally, right? So carbon dioxide can be stored into any physical place. So all these abandoned anachromatic coal seams, depleted oil and gas reservoirs, then subterranean salt, deep saline formation, all these can store fundamentally what? Carbon. And here 2018 UPSC surprised everyone. It introduced a new term, carbon fertilization. It introduced a new term known as carbon fertilization. Use the theory of films, fifth technique here, logical deduction or linguistic deduction. Linguistic deduction here. What do you mean by linguistic deduction? Try to find out the answer from the word which is given to you. What do you mean by fertilization? You are adding fertilizer to grow plants, right? So that's the meaning of fertilization. Carbon fertilization means you are giving carbon to fertilize plants. Okay, using carbon you can grow plants. More carbon means more photosynthesis, more plant growth. So that's the answer of this question. First one is the answer. Getting it? So that's it. This is how UPSC will pick questions related to carbon. Getting it? So that is it. And these are my suggestions. These are my suggestions for you this year. If UPSC decided to ask questions from carbon or carbon dioxide, these can be the possible questions. Sector which contributes maximum carbon dioxide to what? Elevate global warming. That is, energy comes first, agriculture comes second, transportation comes third. Okay, I have already done the math over here. So you just write down the order: energy, agriculture and transportation. These three are the top three sectors which contribute maximum carbon dioxide into atmosphere, which will cause global warming. Okay, this can be one question. Sectors which contribute carbon dioxide into atmosphere. Then this can be another question. Greenhouse gas emission from top emitters. Which are the countries that emit carbon dioxide maximum? See, China stands top of the list. United States stands second. If you take as a country, India stands third, but in between United States and India there is European Union. Okay, so study list like this: China first, US second, European Union third, India fourth. So this is top emitters, cumulative emission from a single country in an year. But when it comes to per capita emission, India comes last because India is a highly populous country. But what about China? China again, you cannot find China. Yeah, China has a very good proportion of what? Per capita emission, more than India. So know this fact: China's per capita emission, even though it is more populous than India, China's per capita emission is very high. Here also United States stands top on the list. Then comes Russia. Then comes Japan. Getting it? So United States, Russia, Japan. So these are the three countries which are having highest per capita carbon emissions. Getting it? So this is a country list in terms of cumulative emission in a year. This is per capita emission in a year. Getting it? So these two lists are important. Then moving more into it, this is greenhouse gas intensity. A graph explaining greenhouse gas intensity. So what do you mean by greenhouse gas intensity? It is the percentage of economy. It is a percentage of economy that depends upon fossil fuels. Getting it? In simpler terms. Okay, how much greenhouse gas will be emitted if you create one additional unit of GDP? Or in other sense, if you create 100 rupees in your GDP, how much kilogram of greenhouse gas will be produced? So this is greenhouse gas intensity, which explains on the basis of what? With respect to your economy, how green your economy is, that is greenhouse gas intensity. And in terms of greenhouse gas intensity, again Russia is the least green country, then comes China, then comes the world average, and India's economy is actually greener than the global average. Okay, remember it, India is actually greener than the global average when it comes to greenhouse gas emission intensity. So here Russia stands top of the list. Getting it? And look here, cumulative emission. Finally, the final graph, cumulative emission. Cumulative emission of carbon from 1750 to 2017. Okay, from the dawn of industrial revolution to 2019 or 2017. Remember, it can be solved using your common sense. All those industrial countries which reap the benefit of industrial revolution will have the maximum emissions. That's a logic, right? All those countries who reap the benefits of industrial revolution will stand top of the list, which means United States, all the European countries and China will be the top 3 positioned countries. So these are the suggestions I have to give to you regarding carbon related concepts. These are my suggestions. Okay, so let me revise it once again. UPSC can ask question related to carbon concepts like carbon cycle, credit, sequestration and some other climatic engineering technologies. And these are the questions and these are my suggestions. Sectoral emission, country wise emission, per capita emission, GDP wise emission and cumulative emission. Know these facts, it will be beneficial for you. Getting it? Now, I also said that UPSC can ask, other than carbon based question, they can ask some questions which can be solved using a logic, because questions from global warming will be one of the easiest in the entire module. Look at these options. Look at these options. Can you solve it using your logic? Look for 1 second, solve it yourself, then wait for my explanation. If tropic temperature level becomes 3 degrees Celsius instead of 2 degrees Celsius, that is our required target, what will be the outcomes? What is this? 4th option. Cultivation of cereals will not be possible anywhere in the world. Is that a rotten tomato? Is that a rotten tomato? Will not be possible anywhere in the world. Nowhere in the world we cannot cultivate cereal. Is that correct? Then all the global wetlands will permanently disappear. In fact, there are 2 rotten tomatoes. All here, permanently here. All the wetlands will permanently disappear. 2 rotten tomato. Eliminated. 3 and 4 can be eliminated. 2 options are gone. Now only 2 options are left. In it, 1 and 2 are the most logical answers. You can take your common sense. You can use your common sense to reach the answer. And here also, sulfate aerosol injection into stratosphere, which is a climatic engineering technology. Climatic engineering technology, and what is the purpose of sulfate aerosol injection? Suppose one aspirant who hasn't heard about sulfate aerosol injection, he or she doesn't know it was related to global warming. How can he or she solve this? Use her or his logic. What is this? This is sulfate aerosol injection, right? So this is into stratosphere. This is into stratosphere. Look at the options given in the question. Artificial rain. Rain is in troposphere. Reducing the frequency of intensity of tropical cyclones. Cyclones are in troposphere. Solar wind on earth. Solar wind are on exosphere. Okay. These 3 options has nothing to do with stratosphere, but last one, reducing the global warming, is related to stratosphere. The only one option is left there. So global warming is the answer. Okay, so D can be the answer. So this is how you have to apply your logics. And this is my takeaway number 7. From global warming, expect 2 kind of questions. One is regarding carbon or climatic engineering technology. Other one can be a surprise question which can be solved using your logics and techniques. Logics and techniques. This will be simple. Okay, so takeaway number 7 is clear for you, I think. Getting it? So this is my 7 takeaways for you. Okay, I hope it's clear. Now we are moving into the 8th one, that is the ozone depletion. Very good. This is our next module. So as I said earlier, we will combine the discussion of global warming and ozone depletion. I have already combined the graph because there is not much question asked after 2014. Maximum over these 9 years you got around 4 questions. This was the takeaway. Okay, only 4 questions have been asked in the last 9 years. No other questions, which means that is only that much important. You don't need to invest more time into it. It's less important than the ecology portion also. Okay, and even if it asks a question regarding ozone, it will be what? Basic, the most basic things. Even if UPSC asks about questions from ozone, they will be the most basic questions. Getting it? Now, before getting, this is my takeaway number 8. Okay, nothing other than these 2 points. Invest less time in ozone depletion, study the most basic thing. And for studying the most basic thing, I'll give you a framework. Use that framework to prepare your notes. Okay, so what are the fundamental questions when it comes to ozone? What is ozone, right? That will be the first question. What is ozone? That is the first question. Then how it is created, how it is destroyed. This will be the second question, right? So more than creation, we will be interested in destruction, right? Because that causes ozone depletion. And how is it destroyed? It can be destroyed naturally as well as artificially. And artificially it is destroyed by ozone depleting substances, right? And make a list of all the ozone depleting substances. And the most important among ozone depleting substances is what? Chlorofluorocarbons. Because these are the things which cause maximum ozone depletion. And where does it cause ozone depletion maximum? It is over Antarctica. It doesn't mean that nowhere in Earth we cannot find ozone depletion or ozone depleted ozone hole. It doesn't mean that. Most prominent ozone depletion is over Antarctica. And ask some questions, why? And another question can be, what is the solution? Solution is what? Montreal Protocol and Vienna Convention. So this is how you have to make the framework. Answer these questions, you will get answer. Okay, make a note on these questions, these fundamental questions. You can answer all the questions in which UPSC asks. What is ozone? What causes its destruction? Ozone depleting substance causes destruction. And which is the most important ODS? It is CFC. And CFC forms ozone hole mostly over Antarctica. What is it or why is it? Ask that questions. And what is the solution? It's Vienna Convention and Montreal Protocol. Answer these questions carefully and briefly, you will get answer. Okay, and if you are not satisfied with this framework, go for the options or go for the questions, then you will know. If that framework is not clear to you, or if you don't believe that framework, look at the questions. The formation of ozone hole or Antarctic region has been a cause of concern. What would be the reason of formation of this hole? The fundamental question. Answer can be B. Okay, the very fundamental. Ozone hole is over Antarctica, everyone knew that. And this one, chlorofluorocarbon known as ozone depleting substances. What is their source? Being a man-made compound, it can be anything. It can be contained by any other man-made compound. That's the logic. CFC is purely man-made. So any other man-made substance has a chance to contain what CFCs. That is plastic forms, then tubeless tires, electronic components and aerosol cans. Okay, so let me make it clear to you. See, plastic forms, tubeless tires, electronic components, all these can contain what? Ozone depleting substances like CFCs. So which is again a very fundamental thing, right? And what about these things? Brominated flame retardants, just like chlorine, bromine is another major ozone depleting substance. And in order to answer this question, you don't even need the conceptual clarity, or you don't even need to know the facts. Just use your common sense. UPSC says that brominated flame retardants are used in many household products, and there is a very high chance that if these components are used in household products, people and animals used to will be contacted with these materials. They will come to contact with these materials. So go for the options. They are highly resistant to degradation. Here I am using a technique known as statement consistency. Technique known as statement consistency, which we discussed in our theory of film session. Okay, statement consistency theorem. What is it? If one statement is complementing another statement, they can come together. That is it. Read the statement. They are highly resistant to each other, or they are highly resistant to degradation. If they are not degraded, they cannot be degraded, there is high chance that they will be accumulated. Is that the case? If something cannot be destroyed, they will be accumulated, which means example plastic. Okay, so that's it. They are able to accumulate in human and animals. Use the statement consistent theorem, you will get answer. Harder to degrade, more possibility to accumulate. That's the logic. Getting it? And this one, the most fundamental thing. Ozone depletion can be prevented using a particular convention. And that convention is Vienna Convention, and that protocol is Montreal Protocol. Getting it? See, look how simple are the questions. Study the framework which I gave to you in the previous section a minute before. Study it, prepare your notes using that framework, you'll get the answer. Getting it? And this is a summary. Ozone will be the cakewalk for you if you prepare on that framework. Getting it? And let me give you a suggestion this time. I already said that post 2014 we didn't get any questions till 2019 on ozone. But in 2018 an important thing happened. Montreal Protocol was amended at Kigali. Okay, and they introduced a gas known as HFCs in the list of ozone depleting substances. They introduced a substance known as HFCs in the list of ozone depleting substances. That is known as Kigali Amendment, which came into force from 2019 January 1. 2019 January 1. Okay, so in 2019 Montreal Protocol, 2018 Montreal Protocol got amended, and in 2019 Kigali Agreement came into force. Now that is important. Now Kigali Agreement can be asked. So study what is HFC, what is the properties of HFC, why do we need to eliminate HFC, and why Kigali Agreement, what are the targets. These kind of questions should be addressed, you will get a question, I am sure. Okay, so this is a summary of takeaway number 8. So we have finished the first 8 takeaways which are the most beneficial to you. Getting it? Now we are slowly moving to the next topic, biodiversity. Biodiversity. Okay, am I clear to you? I think I'm clear to you. So this is our third last portion, biodiversity. After that it comes the global initiatives. Okay, most important topics after protected areas or global species protection, a topic which create headaches for you. Okay, so this is it. Biodiversity will be discussed, then after we'll move into global initiatives. Clear? So that's it. So when it comes to biodiversity, what does I really mean? Normally biodiversity includes all the topics, right? It's a very broad thing, biodiversity. It includes species to be protected, it includes area to be protected, it includes many other components like mangroves, wetlands, coral reefs, etc. Okay, so these are the things normally comes under biodiversity. But in this section, since we have already covered species protection and protected area network, we will be covering the general aspects of biology or biodiversity. Please do remember that when we mention biodiversity here, it only means that we are dealing with only the general aspect of biodiversity. What is it, and what are the threats, what are the different aspects of biodiversity, those kind of things. Getting it? And now giving you the trend analysis of biodiversity here. For the sake of explanation, I have combined biodiversity along with national environmental initiatives. Biodiversity along with national environmental initiatives. Okay, but here national environmental initiatives I have combined it with environment legislation. Here national environmental initiatives, I mean that some initiatives which are exclusively related to biodiversity. Okay, nothing like rules or regulations or laws. Okay, there are some initiatives, example mangrove protection, there can be some initiatives. There can be some initiatives for coral reef protection. Okay, so such kind of things comes under this heading. Okay, you can see that importance is very less. This general kind of thing hardly asked. Okay, mostly one or two questions you can expect, but nothing more. Okay, focus on other areas. So this is a very general topic. So take in that sense. Getting it? So this is my takeaway number 9. You can expect general conceptual questions. You can expect general concept based questions from biodiversity portions, or you can expect questions from components of biodiversity. there are some components in biodiversity like mangroves and coral reefs which are repeated by UPSC almost every year. Okay, or alternate years UPSC used to pick up questions either from mangroves or coral reefs. Okay, mostly you can expect concept based questions which can be solved using your common sense, Okay, you don't need to build any facts, any factual data. Those kind of data cannot be they are not needed. You just need common sense and a broad mind to answer these things. Getting it? So let me explain it using the questions. So these are the concept based questions. First one, Himalayan range is very rich in species diversity. What can be the reason? A most appropriate reason. You see, use your common sense. Has it less human interference? No, it has pretty much human interference. Exotic and invasive species have not been introduced. Is that the case? There are many exotic species in Himalaya. That makes that statement wrong. It has a high rainfall that supports luxuriant vegetative growth. Does it have a the high rainfall content or rainfall pattern there? No. We know the area which we receive maximum rainfall. So Himalaya, they receive average rainfall only. So the most appropriate reason is confluence of different biogeographical zones. Getting it? So use your common sense and your climatology knowledge in geography. Okay, that also will help you. Just like this, comparison of biodiversity over latitude and altitude. The 2011 question explains about or asks about latitudinal and altitudinal variations of biodiversity. Those who know the concept, towards the equator, more insolation, more rainfall, more biodiversity. Okay, as we go higher and higher, latitude wise, less rainfall, less insolation, less biodiversity, which makes the first statement correct. And if we take on the base of altitude, lower level of mountains, which means more insolation, more heat energy, more rainfall, more biodiversity. Okay, more thermal activity. And as we go higher, biodiversity will be coming down. So which means both the statements are correct. And these are two very general questions. Okay, factors which supports the existence of human, all can be the answer. Okay, and threats to biodiversity. Promotion of vegetarianism cannot be a threat to biodiversity. Okay, but all other can be. So these are very general questions which need only a general thought process. Okay, these are the fundamental questions, and also there are some more acts which can be said as application, but they are actually the conceptual based question. Look at the similarity of these two questions asked in 2011 and 2014. Look at the similarities of questions. Which of the acts that can prevent the that can ensure the biodiversity, biotic diversity in a country, especially in India? See, Import and Export Control Act. There is very high chance that the particular act contain any provision which have a bearing of biodiversity. Okay, so as Customs Act, so as Forest Act, so as Mining Act. Each of these acts somehow may contain a single provision that can be related to biodiversity protection. Okay, so answer can be all of the above. Here also answer can be all of the above. Getting it? All these are needed to be solved using a broad mind. Getting it? And a concept from a question from biodiversity hotspot. A fundamental questions from biodiversity. Okay, needed to be solved in that way. Getting it? And these are some questions based on components about mangroves, about coral reefs, and again about coral reefs. And this question can be solved using your common sense. Answer me, in which of these areas can we find the growth of coral reefs, can support the growth of coral reefs, and eliminate a single option, you will get answer. Which will be that answer? Answer is what? Sundarbans. Why not Sundarbans? Think about coral reefs. What are the physical requirements that a coral reef need to grow upon? Clean water. Okay, clean water is needed, insulation is needed, dissolved oxygen is needed. Okay, all these are needed for coral reef and its growth. But Sundarbans, at the confluence of two mighty rivers such as Ganga and Brahmaputra, It will carry abundance of influxes, nutrients, which will promote what? Harmful algal blooms or algal blooms simply, eutrophication. They prevent the sunlight, they prevent the oxygen to dissolve in it, they prevent insolation. All these prevent the growth of coral trees, which you will get answer as A. This is it. So this is how you have to use your logic and technique judiciously. Getting it? So that's my summary. Biodiversity was a smaller portion because we have already covered the larger portion like species protection and protected area networks in our first two modules. So here we only address the general kind of topics. So my summary is to make these kind of questions correct, keep your mind as broad as possible. Use your common sense. Okay, look at your surroundings, you will get answer. So this is my takeaway number 9. Prepare less on general things of biodiversity, and remember one more thing, these kind of questions haven't asked recently. So what if UPSC suppose they decided to ask such kind of questions? So keep an eye on these kind of questions, practice these questions, you will get a similar question if you are lucky enough in 2020's prelims. That's it. So this is summary of takeaway number 9. So we are going to discuss the second last module, but the most important module among this environment and ecology session, which is the global initiatives. Okay, so this particular module which creates so much problem for aspirants because this is highly diversified, okay, highly disorganized. People doesn't know or people don't know where to start from and where to collect information. This is one important problem, and UPSC can surprise you with many current affairs and many unheard initiatives and activities, okay, which usually don't come in any of the current affairs magazines or something like that. Okay, so this is a highly diversified, highly unorganized, highly factual data, highly factual module which need to be tackled just like protected area networks and species protection. So here is the importance of this particular module. After 2013, after 2014, UPSC spiked the number of global initiatives. Okay, UPSC raised the number of questions related to global initiatives. So this pattern should be noted. Every year now we can expect a global initiative based question. Getting it? And by analyzing previous 9 years paper, I have come to the takeaway that UPSC has 3 patterns. UPSC follows 3 patterns when it comes to global initiatives. That is the Rio Convention affinity, UNEP, WWF, IUCN, the big 3 affinity, and some out of the blue questions. So this is the takeaway number 10 for you to tackle questions from global initiatives. Okay, so let me explain it in detail. UPSC used to ask questions related to Rio conventions in many times, and they don't just stick to the current affairs, but what they do is they used to ask questions based on history. Okay, questions based on history of Rio Convention. Okay, so do not think like that all the Rio Convention and its histories, its important conference of parties are need to be avoided. Do not think like that. Okay, those histories are important. Historical conventions which took some important decisions need to be studied well, because UPSC used to study those questions from the static part and current affairs, which you can do. Okay, but important thing to be noted is what? Static part of Rio conventions. And again, apart from Rio conventions like UNFCCC or UNEP or UNCCD, UPSC usually picks up questions from these 3 organizations: UNEP, WWF and IUCN. Okay, so these 3 conventions UPSC's favorite. Okay, you can expect questions related to these 3 conventions in any year. Okay, so let's show you the questions. These are the proofs. Agenda 21. Look at the very first Rio convention had this Agenda 21 initiative. Global Environment Facility. Again, a question from the very fundamentals of Rio convention. The basic funding mechanism, finance facilitating mechanism. See, questions from the history of Rio Convention. Again, I can show you more questions. See, Paris Agreement. Question regarding Paris Agreement. Okay. And another question regarding Cartagena Protocol, Nagoya Protocol and Kyoto Protocol. Remember, this Paris Agreement is related to UNFCCC, and Cartagena Protocol and Nagoya Protocol both are related to UNCBD, and Kyoto Protocol is related to. So let me erase it and write it for you again. So Cartagena Protocol and Nagoya Protocol related to UNCBD, Kyoto Protocol is related to UNFCCC, and again question regarding INDC, which is again related to UNFCCC. Getting it? So, see, these are the history, okay, not just current affairs. Then again, UN Red Plus, which was an outcome of UNFCCC, in Bali Summit back in 2007-8. Okay, they asked it in 2016. Okay, of course it had, or it would have some connection with the current affair, but remember that these are static parts. UN Red Plus is a static part. So please make sure that you are giving focus on UNFCCC or these Rio Convention static part, or simply the history. Again, Green Climate Fund. UPSC asked in 2015, but Green Climate Fund was initiated in 2010. Okay, again 5 years after GCA was constituted. UPSC asked again the question. And again, UNCCD, very fundamental question, UNCCD. See, what does it say? UPSC used to ask questions from Rio Convention's history as well as current affairs. Getting it? So you have to be thorough with the convention's history and static portion, and we'll be giving a handout showing this Rio Convention's history. Okay, or at least UNFCCC's history should be noted down. UNFCCC's history should be noted down. Getting it? So we'll be sharing a handout containing important provisions and points that contains histories and important static events that happened in these 3 Rio Conventions. These should be noted down. Getting it? And even if you don't know some of the questions, try to apply any kind of logic or rotten tomato theory or theory of a prelims, multiple theories, check for it. Okay. If by logic you can eliminate any of the option, go for it. So that's a perfect strategy. Let me show it how you can solve using logic some of the questions. Okay, so this one. Okay, let me take the slide. So this one, Paris Climate Treaty. How will you solve this question regarding Paris Climate Treaty? Go for the third statement. What was it about? Paris Climate Treaty developed countries acknowledge their historical responsibility in global warming and committed to donate $100,000 or $1,000 billion a year from 2020 to help developing countries to cope up with climate change. Is that possible? Developed countries acknowledging their historical mistakes. Countries like US, countries like countries in European Union and countries like China, would they accept their mistakes? Okay, would they accept the principle of common but differentiated responsibility, and even they are ready to will in $1,000 billion a year from 2020 without specifying an end year? Will that be possible? It is not practically possible. Think like that, you can eliminate option C. Okay, so 3 can be eliminated, answer is D only. Getting it? So this is how you have to eliminate the wrong options. Use your common sense. Let me show you more. What about this particular question regarding UNCCD? Try to solve. How can you solve it? See, what is UNCCD? UNCCD 5-second desertification. Where can you find deserts in the world? The most important desert in the world is either in Africa or in West Asia. Okay, it's either in Africa or in West Asia. Look at the option. It has a special or particular focus on South Asia and North Africa. So North Africa is okay, agreeable, but what about South Asia? What are the South Asian countries? India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives. where can you find a large stretch of desert in these countries? Desertification is not a major problem like Africa or West Asia in South Asia. So this South Asia is a noun which UPSC purposefully put to make that option wrong. Okay, so you could have eliminated option 2. Okay, and read the rest 2 of the statement. If it is a very general statement which makes some positive impacts, you can go for it. Okay, do not hesitate. So this is how you have to solve using your logic. And this is a thing I told about the other organization. Other than UNFCCC or UNCCD or UNCBD, UPSC can focus upon institutions like IUCN, okay, then UNDP, okay, traffic is an initiative by WWF, okay, then Earth Hour, another initiative by WWF, sites, actually IUCN and UNDP is also there. Getting it? So this is how UPSC will focus on other organizations. UNDP, WWF, IUCN, all are important. Getting it? Getting it? And these 2 organizations, Wetland International and BirdLife International, I can give you a source for it, not a deliberate pattern. UPSC asked these 2 questions. 2014 they asked about Wetland International. 2015 they asked about BirdLife International. These 2 questions were picked up from a single chapter of India Yearbook 2014. UPSC picked up these 2 questions from India Yearbook 2014 and they asked it in consecutive years. And just like these two questions, India Yearbook 2019 contained some articles regarding Ramsar provision. Okay, India Yearbook's Environment Chapter. India Yearbook's Environment Chapter contained some provisions regarding Ramsar Convention and National Wetland Rules. So UPSC picked up that topic and asked in 2019. Okay, so it is highly advisable that you are referring India Yearbook for this year's prelims. Okay, refer the Environment Chapter, mark any specific initiatives if there are and study it. Okay, who knows, UPSC can pick question from anywhere. Okay, this is another thing I have to explain to you. Getting it? And one more thing, let it be here, I'll show you one question, one particular question. Biocarbon Fund Initiative. Who will be the organization which is responsible for a funding mechanism? Think about an international organization which is financing other countries, developing countries, and which stands for managing the financial activities. Of course, what? World Bank. IMF is not for this particular purpose. Okay, ADB is not for this particular purpose. If it is a global fund, it should be World Bank. And you can take it as granted, World Bank actually handles a lot of environmental related funds. Whether it is GCF, whether it is GEF, environment related funds are mostly handled by World Bank. Okay, you can take it as a takeaway. Great, good, got it. So this is one such question you can use at a if you are left with no choice, you have to choose one of the options to make that line clear. You can go with this World Bank kind of options. Okay, unless you don't, if you have the knowledge, to solve these kind of questions, go for it. Getting it? And if you are left with no choice, try to go with World Bank. Most of the times it can be correct. Okay, and let me show you some websites which are used by UPSC to pick up questions or pick up topics for questions. Okay, and let me show you the websites. So these are the websites. Okay, see, this is UNCCD's homepage. How can UPSC pick a topic for preparation of a specific question? See this action tab. This is action tab. See this action tab. The Great Green Wall Initiative, which is a current affair. The Land Degradation Neutrality Program, the Land Degradation Neutrality Fund, then the Global Land Outlook, Land for Life Program, then Sustainability, Stability, Security or 3 years Initiative. See, these are the questions, these are the topics which UPSC used to pick up questions. And especially this 3 years initiative is important. This 3 years initiative is important because this 3 years initiative was there in news because UNCCD's latest convention was happened in India. And for the first time in history of UNCCD's convention, India hosted the summit. So because of that, UNCCD finds some special importance this year. So make sure that you are reading all the details regarding UNCCD and all the outcomes of its 14th Conference of Parties that was held in India in 2018. Okay, so please make sure that you are reading it. So look at, there are plenty of questions for a question maker, plenty of topics for a question maker here. And what about this is UNFCCC's homepage. This is UNFCCC's homepage. See, there is a tab known as Climate Action. Check for the initiative Climate Neutral Now, Momentum for Change. These were the questions in 2018. These were the sources from where UPSC picked up topics for questions. It was there in the very homepage of UNFCCC. Climate Neutral Now and Momentum for Change. Look for it. And there is more. Marrakesh Partnership, which can be a question next time. Who knows? And again, if you visit the homepage of Convention on Biodiversity, see Cartagena Protocol, Nagoya Protocol. It is there in the very first page, very first line. And UPSC asked it in 2016. So from where did they pick the topic? From the very homepage of UNCBD. See, this is why I told you the importance of Rio Conventions cannot be ignored. Rio Conventions cannot be ignored because UPSC can visit the convention because they are the umbrella convention which facilitate all other conventions. Okay, so do not miss UNCBD or UNCCD or UNFCC any year of your preparation, any year of exam. Okay, there can be questions from there. And let me show you one more thing. This is the homepage of UNEP. This is the homepage of UNEP, and what is this? Climate and Clean Air Coalition. This was a question in 2018. Climate and Clean Air Coalition was an initiative by whom? This was the question. This was by UNEP. So one who had visited the website homepage of UNEP can answer that question. So this is where UPSC pick questions from. Then let me show you one more website finally. So this is the World Bank's homepage. World Bank's homepage. And if I scroll down, you can see plenty of initiatives here. Here, Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition. That can be a question next year. IFC Climate Business. That can be a question next year. Connect for Climate. That can be a question next year. Climate Action Peer Exchange. CAPE. That can be a question next year. Then Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. This was a question in 2016 or 17. Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. This was a question in 2016 or 17. See, UPSC do not complicate things much. They keep it simple. Okay, they visit either World Bank or UNEP or UNFC or other Rio Convention and pick a question from there. Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. There are more for you. Biocarbon Fund. The question we just saw. Biocarbon Fund, which was taken from World Bank homepage. And again, Carbon Pricing Dashboard. This can be another question. Okay, so these are the websites you should visit if time permits. If time permits, visit these websites and make some 1 or 2 line note regarding each of these program and study it. Okay, you can expect a question. 90% of the times you can expect a question. So just like this, visit WWF's homepage, IUCN's homepage, you will get enough information. Getting it? So this is how you have to prepare upon global initiative. Getting it? So let me resume with the global initiatives PPT. Okay, so the things I already discussed here are UPSC has an affinity towards Rio Convention. UPSC has an affinity towards Rio Conventions. Okay, and within Rio Convention focus on history, just like you study current affair. And second thing, the big 3 convention, UNEP and WWF or IUCN. Okay, note this down. And just like that, UPSC can ask about initiatives handled by World Bank. Okay, these things should be noted. These things should be noted. And here are some questions which can be solved using logics and techniques. Okay, so other than Rio conventions and the big three questions, here are some questions which can be solved by using logic and techniques. Okay, so read the first question, GAXA. This question was regarding GAXA with reference to global climate change, climate smart agriculture. Which of the following statement is or are correct? Okay, how will you answer this particular question? Go for the third statement. India was instrumental in the creation of GAXA. Is that statement correct? Do you think the statement is correct? India was instrumental in forming GAXA. What should be your logic? Think like this. Name one convention that India was instrumental. Name one international convention or international organization or agreement that India was instrumental in making it. The first answer that would come to our mind is what? International Solar Alliance, right? International Solar Alliance. Okay, so everyone knows about International Solar Alliance because India took the initiative. So that's the logic there. If India took an initiative, if India is instrumental in taking an action, we all should know it. We all should know it innocently because that initiative will be there in all the newspaper, whether it is regional or international or even English, whatever be the language, the news should be there because India is taking the leadership. So that's a very logic of this thing. And if GAXA was an instrumental result of India's activity, we should have known it. We haven't heard about it. So surely eliminate the third statement, you will get option 2 as the correct answer. Getting it? So this is how you have to apply you have to mold your thinking process. And again, question regarding FAO. FAO is geographically important agricultural heritage system. Okay, look at the third statement. To provide geographic indication status to all the varieties of agricultural produce in such identified GAIHAs. Is that the duty of FAO? Any serious candidate, who has prepared decently in economics or in current affairs would have known about geographic indication. Who is responsible for assigning GI marks? Is it FAO? It is not FAO. It is actually based on TRIPS agreement of WTO. Okay, it has nothing to do with FAO. So you can eliminate option 3. And if you eliminate option 3, what is your answer? 2 only is the answer. See, look how simple it was. Look how simple it was the question. If you apply your logic, if you apply your common sense and basic understanding. And this question also, with reference to the role of UN Habitat in United Nations program working towards a better urban future, which of the statement is or are correct? Identify any rotten tomato there. Can you identify any rotten tomato there? Its partners are either governments or local urban authorities only. Only is a rotten tomato. Okay, so its partners are either governments or local urban authorities. Okay, only is a rotten tomato. So eliminate that statement, you will get 2 options. Okay, read the rest 2 statements. If they are positive, general in nature, go for it. Okay, you will get the answer. So this is how you have to apply your logic and techniques if the question is possible by doing so. Getting me? So this is what I have to tell you with the global initiatives. Getting it? So let me sum it up again. UPSC normally asks about Rio conventions, both in history and current affairs. And UPSC can ask the big 3 like UNEP, questions regarding UNEP, WWF and IUCN. And again UPSC can ask some out of the blue type question. And what should be the strategy there? If those out of the blue questions can be solved using your logic and techniques, go for it. Otherwise, the best strategy is to leave it. As I said earlier, leaving those difficult questions is as good as attempting a good one. Attempting a simple question. Getting it? So, be confident in your preparation level. If you have prepared well, if you have read all the content, almost all the content that are available in the market, even if you don't know the concept, then nobody will know it. That should be the confidence level. Okay, you should be that much confident. I have read a lot of things. I have all the concepts with me. If even then I don't know it, then what should be the case with others? That should be the confidence level. Getting it? So this is the takeaway number 10 and its summary. Getting it? Before moving into takeaway number 11 with respect to pollution, I need to give you one simple pattern, and I don't even know whether it is a deliberate pattern or not. Okay, so UPSC asked about initiatives by multiple global organizations in 4 different years. Okay, I don't know whether it is a takeaway or a deliberate pattern. It happened like that. Okay, so this is the thing. UPSC asked about initiatives by multiple global organizations in 4 different years. In 2016, UPSC asked about TEEB. In 2015, UPSC asked about GCF. In 2014, UPSC asked about Earth Hour. In 2017, UPSC asked about Global Climate Change Alliance. And one statement in each of these questions was wrong. That was the pattern. One statement in each of these questions was wrong. And what was the statement? See this statement. It is an initiative hosted by, let me zoom it for you. It was an initiative hosted by UNEP, IMF, World Economic Forum. UNEP, IMF and World Economic Forum. That was wrong. Okay, and nobody is associated with TEEB. And regarding Green Climate Fund, it is an initiative of European Union. Okay, Global Climate Change Alliance, sorry, not Green Climate Fund, Global Climate Change Alliance. It was an initiative of European Union. Let it be there. Go for the last one. It is coordinated by World Resource Institute and World Business Council for Sustainable Development. That statement was also wrong. Okay, so multiple organization, wrong statement. Multiple organization, wrong statement. Here also Green Climate Fund. It was handled by UNEP, OECD, ADB and World Bank. Multiple organization, again wrong. Then regarding Earth Hour, UNEP and UNESCO. Multiple organization, again wrong. Getting it? So this is not a pattern. I'm repeating again. It can be go wrong at some times. Okay. So this pattern you can go if you are left with no choice and you desperately need 1 or 2 marks to get across the line. Unless and until you are not attending this question, you won't be clearing it. If that is the situation, if that is the case, and you are at 50-50 chance, you have eliminated 1 or 2 of the statement and you are left with 50-50 chances, go for it. If you are lucky enough, you will get the correct answer. Getting it? So I'm not advising you to follow this particular pattern, because all 4 years, all options got wrong. That is okay, but there is no assurity that UPSC will repeat the pattern again. Getting it? So that's it. Go with your mind at these times. Got it? So that's it. This is the last section of global initiative. I believe everything is clear now. Getting it? So we are moving into the last topic, pollution. We are moving into the last topic, pollution. So before directly explaining pollution and pollution related concepts, let me explain one thing. Let me remind you about the purpose of this program once again. We started this discussion by saying that this program was not to replace your preparation or to substitute your mode of strategy of preparation. This was just for complementing and augmenting your preparation. Okay, so anything or anyone need a basic knowledge, fundamental knowledge to clear exam. Okay, that is indispensable. You should have some basic level of content, and we are discussing only how to judiciously use that knowledge. Okay, how to smartly place that knowledge to solve questions like this. That's the purpose of this theory of prelims session. Okay, so please always do remember that thing. Okay, and let me remember you all those materials which I have told you. I will share that. I'll share it in the Telegram channel only. Okay, so those who haven't subscribed the Telegram channel, please do it. We'll be sharing the materials there. Getting it? And the last portion, we are moving to the last portion, the pollution. Getting it? So understanding the trend of pollution. Look at the yellow part. Every year you can find yellow. Every single year you can find the yellow bridge, which means that pollution is important. Pollution is important. Question can be there from pollution every year. That is important. So you have to invest your time. But how? That's a question. That's a big question. How should you invest this? Where to focus? Just like all other previous modules, this is the fundamental question. How should you invest your time judiciously in pollution related topic? And this is my takeaway for you. Just like protected area networks, just like protected species, just like global initiatives, UPSC has a set of popular pollutants with it. There are some pollutants which is favorite to UPSC, which are used by UPSC in every year. Only the question, only the concept will be different. They'll put these pollutants here or there in multiple questions, multiple years. Okay, those pollutants are popular pollutants, and study on that popular pollutants. Identify those popular pollutants by analyzing questions. That's the best way. Getting it? So after analyzing, after studying the popular pollutants, use this particular theory, possibility enhancer theory, to answer your question. Okay, after studying popular pollutants, use this theory, possibility enhancer theory, to answer this question. Let me show how. These are the questions. Look at the options: carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, or simply oxides. Here also sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Here also carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, extra methane and ozone. Nothing more. Here also in this question, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone and nitrogen oxide. Here we have lead in this question. Okay, here we have lead in that question. Let me zoom it for you. Here we have lead in that question, and here also we have lead in that question. Okay, here we have arsenic, fluoride and uranium in this question. Arsenic, fluoride and uranium in this question. And here we have lead or mercury in this question. See, look at the pattern. UPSC is following a set of pollutants in every year. So what is your duty? Identify the popular pollutants. Getting it? And don't worry, I have listed the popular pollutants asked by UPSC. So this is a list of popular pollutant asked by UPSC every year. Question can be from lead, can be from arsenic, can be from mercury, uranium, plutonium, fluorides, ozone, carbon monoxide and methane. These are the pollutants you have to make a good note based on this particular framework. You have to identify the source of the pollutant, you have to identify the impact created by that pollutant on environment, and is there any health effect and what are those health effects, and what will be the regulatory provisions. What will be the regulatory provisions. So these are the things you have to be noted upon. Okay, and just like I told you in the takeaway 11, after identifying popular pollutants, you should apply the possibility enhancer theory to answer these questions. We'll solve this question. Okay, let me solve this question for you. See, first one, thermal pollutants. Combustion is happening. What are the gases that can be coming out? Steel industry, combustion happening. What can be the pollutants that can come out? Biomass residue, crop residue. What can be the pollutants that can come out? See, all these are biomass, right? Okay, whether it is steel industry or thermal power plant or biomass residue, this is what? All biomass, all biocarbon. Which means the pollutants, emitter pollutants can be anything. Okay, use possibility enhancer. The possibility of coming out of any particular gas is more when it is combustion. So answer can be 1, 2, 3 here. Answer can be 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Answer can be 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So this is how you have to approach it. And remember, do not try to keep that much openness in every question. Because look at this question. What are the components of e-waste? Okay, do not rush into conclusion, do not jump into conclusion. Finding or getting these questions, do not go straight away into answer as D, because there can be traps. There can be traps. Read the options carefully. Beryllium, not sure. Cadmium, not sure. Chromium, not sure. Possible. Heptachlor, I don't know about it. Go for the next option. Mercury, can be possible. Lead, can be possible. Plutonium, can it be? That's a big question. See, UPSC purposefully kept plutonium as the final option. Okay. So UPSC purposefully kept plutonium as the final option. Read the options all carefully. That's a demand of UPSC. So, by knowing plutonium is a radioactive waste, you could have easily eliminated 7, and if you eliminate 7, you will get answer. Getting it? So is 4 there? No, 4 is not there. So this is how you have to eliminate. You don't even know what heptachlor was, but that doesn't matter. If you know what is plutonium, you can eliminate heptachlor also. So this is the logic of this particular session. Okay, then let me give you more example. So this particular question, how to identify the contaminants in drinking water. How to identify contaminants in drinking water, identify it. Arsenic, a natural element, can be found in earth. Sorbitol, don't know anything about it, leave it there. Fluoride, a natural component, can be found in earth. Formaldehyde, it's pretty much there in news, right? It is pretty much there in news because it's a chemical used for adulteration, right? Used in fish. And uranium, again an element which can be found in earth naturally. So these are all natural elements. 1, 3, 5, arsenic, fluoride, uranium, all are natural elements. So go for the option that contains these. And we have a doubt regarding 3 or 4 or 2 or 4. But we know that 4 is formaldehyde, not naturally found, it is man-made. Eliminate it, you will get answer as C. So this is how you have to lead into answer or reach into answer. So this is how you have to reach the answer. This is how you have to eliminate the wrong options. And same logic applies here. Same logic applies here. Okay, same logic applies here. All these can be solved using this particular logic. Keep your mind as broad as possible. Use possibility enhancer theory. Go for it. Okay, you can solve it. So this is the outcome of pollutants. Okay, let me sum it up again. What was the summary of takeaway 11? UPSC has a set of popular pollutants, and identifying these popular pollutants and identify the framework which is required. This is the framework, and make your own notes. Okay, I'll be preparing the handouts and will be shared through the Telegram channel. Getting it? So this is it. And again, what if UPSC can again surprise you in pollutants also? How will you solve? So this can be solved by logics and techniques, if it is possible. So these are some of the questions you can solve it using your logics and techniques. So what is it? This question is regarding nanoparticles. See, nanoparticles can accumulate. They can enter the food chain. They can trigger the production of free radicals. These are all possibility enhancer statements. All can be correct. Use that logic. And here also, what can be the impact of excessive or inappropriate use of nitrogen as fertilizer? Proliferation can be happened. Increasing the acidity of soil can take place. Leaching of nitrate into soil can take place. This is all can take place. This can occur. This is all possibility enhancer. Okay, this is all possibility enhancer. And those who don't know what is possibility enhancer, please watch the first session. Again, then air quality index. Okay, air quality index. What is regarding air quality index? Identify one single option which can be eliminated from here. One can be eliminated because carbon dioxide cannot be controlled. It is quite abundant. It is quite common. We cannot control it. It's not a pollutant in the true sense. So one can be eliminated. So you will get answer as 2, 3, 4. So this is how you have to choose answers. Getting it? And this one, extended producer responsibility. I think I had explained it in the earlier slide. Okay, see, these two can be eliminated using our logic, and this can be the correct answer, e-waste management rule, as I explained in the earlier portion of this video. Getting it? So these are the insight I can give you in the pollution portion. And there are my suggestions. These are my suggestions. You have to refer extended producer responsibility in detail. There can be good number of questions. Okay, in depth you have to go to extended producer responsibility. Who introduced it? What is the real concept of EPA? What are all the activities that can qualify as EPAs? And what are the legislation that comprises this EPA provision? These kind of things should be noted. Okay, so this can be asked this year. And you have to note 2018 amendments of solid waste management rules, plastic waste management rules, biomedical waste management rules and e-waste management rules 2018. So these 4 acts can be asked. Please refer these all 4. Getting it? So that finishes our pollution and the entire discussion. So let me sum up the entire takeaways again. Okay, if you remember it, please tell it. Takeaway number 1 was regarding the weightage. Takeaway number 2 was regarding the very repetitive nature of questions. Takeaway number 3 was regarding the selected set of what? Heavyweight national park or protected areas. Takeaway number 4 was regarding superstar species. Takeaway number 5 was regarding finding out a best framework for national environment initiatives. And takeaway number 6 was regarding global warming. Takeaway number 6 was regarding basic ecology. Okay, you have to refer NCERT. I remembered you. 12 out of 14 questions were from NCERT and I told you the chapter name. Please go and read it. And I will share the NCERT PDF in the Telegram channel. Don't worry. I'll share the PDF of selected NCERT chapters in the Telegram channel. And takeaway number 7, takeaway number 8 was regarding global warming and ozone depletion. And takeaway number 9, which was regarding what? Ozone depletion. After it, we discussed biodiversity and its basic concepts. Okay. And takeaway number 10 was regarding what? Global initiatives. And takeaway number 11 was regarding, okay, let me write it for you. Takeaway number 9 was regarding biodiversity. And takeaway number 10 was regarding global initiatives. And finally, takeaway number 11 was regarding the pollution. So these are the 11 takeaways which we got from the analysis of previous 9-year paper. Okay, see, at the end of the session, where do you stand? That is the most important question. If you find the topic still difficult and still not manageable, you should watch this session again. Okay, believe me, these are the patterns and these are going to be the patterns. Okay, so from a highly unorganized, factual, voluminous, bulky subject, we have developed a what? Coherent strategy and trend which will UPSC follow every year. You have to keep these takeaways, 11 takeaways in your mind to find out answers. Okay, and the most important thing, practice using the previous year question paper. You will get n number of questions and n number of topics which you need to invest your time more. And most importantly, subscribe to the Telegram channel. I'll be sharing the materials in there which you will find it very comprehensive to read. Getting it? And all the best for your preparation. This was a takeaway and session from Environment Ecology as a part of iLearn's Theory of Prelims 2.0. Thank you.